Now, one of the main big reasons to why I see amateur golfers who cannot stop standing up coming through the golf ball is actually via how they're trying to release the golf club, because how you release that golf club going through the golf ball will really dictate how your body is going to move in relationship to the ground. So let's explain it here. So for golfers who are really trying to get this real active release through the golf ball, they're trying to really roll those hands and arms over. They're going to end up putting their right wrist into more flexion. So their right wrist is going to go from extended, which is this little cup here, to then flex going through the golf ball. So view it as the palm of the hand going from pointing down towards the ground to pointing towards the target. So one little small tweak that they can make is going to make them stay in posture, because when your palm is going and getting into this flex position with the wrist, palm going towards the target, that then gets the club moving down more into the ground. So that elongates the swing arc to go wider, which is going to go more into the earth going through the golf ball, which you need to do that to have that real active release. But again, if that club's going to go more down through having that right wrist fire, you've got to stand up in order to not chunk the golf ball. Because if I do that active release but it's trying to stay down in posture, I end up hitting some really poor contacts. To where then, if I stand the body up with that right wrist movement from that active release, palm going towards the target, I end up striking the ball relatively okay. But again, I'm going to hit high, weak golf shots. And again, my success of the golf shot is whether I can stand the body up. So this is where golfers need to focus a little bit differently on their release pattern to be able to successfully keep themselves down through the golf ball. So what we need to do is release the club more like the top pros do. So what the top pros do, they use their body coming through the shot. They have their club face nice and square to their swing arc, which means the club face is roughly square to their spine angle. And then that just means they can just turn their body through. Club face is going to stay nice and stable. They don't have to actively try to release it like amateur golfers with the open club face having to really hard fire the hands. So when you have that more body centric release through the golf ball, if you're coming into the golf ball with that nice right wrist extension that we need, if you're turning the body through, that right wrist stays in that extended spot. Because then if, let's say, we try to physically release the hands and arms like before, with rotation has to stop, and then you get this big fire through. So if we then rotate through, we could get that right wrist staying in that lovely extended position. And of course, what that's going to do to keep you down on the golf ball is that keeps the swing height, so the arc of the golf swing, the radius of it, more up. So then for us to be able to get that club onto the golf ball, we have to stay down to hit a good golf shot. We can't be standing up because we're going to thin it, we're going to top it. No good. So that's where you're going to stay down on it. You're going to get this nice lovely compression on the golf ball, because look at the nice angles it gives you. It just makes life a lot easier. So one little tweak with this feel is going to get us there. So here's this little tweak, and we're going to get into a really, really good drill to keep you down on it, which will do it every time implementing this tweak. So like we were saying before, what the AMs are doing when they're trying this active release, their palm is going towards the target like this. Then they have to stand up to be able to not hit the ground too early. So if we can then focus on this, a little bit of an extreme feel, this is a little bit more than what people would be doing, but it's great to exaggerate. It's feeling like the palm stays down through that golf ball. Look at that right wrist extension it gives you. So palm down going through the golf ball. Now, if the palm was fully facing down, of course, that's going to be way too much sharply. You're delofting the club way too much. You're generally not going to do that. Your palm will be gradually coming out of that wrist, will be gradually coming out of that extension, but the palm will still be facing towards that ground. But we will still be in that extended position of the wrist, not into that flexed, flatter position, horrible position there. So palm down, facing down towards the ground, not palming it like that, straighten the arm, not that. We want to keep the palm facing down towards the ground, not to the target. So that's our little tweak. We're going from the target to feeling like it's down towards the ground. Let's get into a good drill. Let's measure it to see whether we're getting there with a hack motion also. Okay guys, here we go. Hack motion is on, which is going to tell us how well we're keeping into this extended position of the right wrist or flexed position. So Really good for us doing the drill here. So just so you know the data, what you're looking at here. So when we're in this extended position, palm down, you can see there, I'm really exaggerating it. What am I at? 49 plus 49 extension there. So again, that's quite extended. So where now, if I go palm to the target, you can see I'm in flexion now, minus 15 just about. So you can see plus, minus, plus, minus. So palm down is plus, palm to the target is minus. Okay, so let's go and do this drill, and we're really going to be able to see it here. So what this drill is, this is my favorite one to keep you down, but having good wrist angles as well. It's called the pump drill. I've done so many of these in my golfing life and so many of them with my students as well. So what we do, we get to the delivery zone because we're training release. Again, we don't want to be releasing it like this. That palm's going to be going towards a target. We're going to be going to flexion. The body's going to be standing up. So we want to keep that palm facing down. So, okay, we're getting from delivery zone and then through the ball. So we get to shaft parallel to the ground, our palm relatively facing down. So technically it's pointing a little bit in front of the golf ball there, but we want to feel like it's pointing that little bit more down towards the ground. We can see, okay, here, club face is just behind the hands. The hands are relatively either over the right leg or almost on top of the ball. Not as in on top of the ball is this way. They're just around a fist distance from my right leg. And then we've got the weight on that left side, hips are open, chest is relatively square on. So that's us set up into a good position. Okay, so refer back to that part of the video to make sure you're in a good spot for this drill. Okay, so we go, I'm locked and loaded. Now what I want to do is just go up. And as you can see, as I'm doing that, I'm just moving my body as I'm doing so, not just moving my hands and arms up, I'm moving my body up to get into the pump portion of the drill. So I'll be going 1, 2, and on the third one, letting everything unwind, palm facing down towards the ground as I turn through. There we go. So nice little kind of held off finish there. And we can see we're in a real extended position there. So as we know, that's plus. So, okay. Absolutely, another one, getting that pump position to train this, and you can see the body's going to naturally, instinctively stay down. So again, palm facing towards the ground, hips open, chest square onto the golf ball. Weight is 90% on my left side, hands roughly a fist distance from my right leg, club head slightly inside the hands, just to make sure that checkpoint's there. Once you're used to that, it's going to take no time to get that. Then 1, 2, palm down on the third. Oh, that felt good. Okay. Again, lovely. So as we can see there from the hack motion, it gets us into quite an exaggerated amount of extension, especially for me. I actually struggle quite a bit to keep that right hand into, or that right wrist into that extended position. For me, quite often, for me, is a good one is only like +3. Normally when I'm hitting balls with a hack motion, we can see quite considerably more so there. But we would want to see quite an exaggerated movement. So if we're in the double digits of extension there, I'd say for most golfers that would be an absolute little bit of exaggeration, which is good because then we know if we're hitting the ball okay, we're staying down on the golf ball. So again, it's just this little trick here, this little tweak, palm down. It's going to get you into that spot. Oh, can you really feel the whip through that golf ball? So again, lovely, lovely spot. So now let's say I did a free-flowing swing and I got myself, just so you can see the number here, and I went into a little bit of course, flexion palm to that target. Here we go. Body really had to stand up a little bit last minute. Again, yeah, quite in that flexed right wrist position, which means palm to target, body has to stand up. Okay, so just done a bunch of the drill. Now palm facing down towards that ground. Oh, strike, that was good. Good, actually I'm actually quite happy with that. That's quite good for me there. So absolutely, keep that palm down. Pump drills are so good for so many things. They get you moving through the golf ball really nicely, good body-centric turn. They keep the wrist angles into a good spot. Again, with that little addition of keeping the palm down for you guys who really struggle with standing up, it's gonna be a really good little tweak for you to do. Absolutely awesome. If you want a hack motion, so good for so many things. See, I've got a number of videos on my channel that I've got the hack motion on. You can measure what you're doing, and you need to measure to be able to know if you're making a change. So that's where, for you standing up as a golf ball, you know, your early extenders, get a hack motion, put a hack motion on. and see where your starting point is with your right wrist flexion. That's going to be going towards the golf ball, and you can measure how well you're doing with staying down on the golf ball with how much extension you're getting it into. Really good one to do. So there's a link in the description to get a good discount on them. Invaluable bit of technology here to help you improve your game. HackMotion, absolutely awesome. Best measuring device out there, in my opinion. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.